During these trying times in April 2020, I wish to present Jukebox Volume 3, and this is names jokes. Name jokes were first brought to my attention by children because they knew I liked humour. So I've collected some over the years, and some have even come from grown-ups. What do you call a man with lots of scratches on him? Claude. Me being a bit of an author, Michael Turner, if I got married and I wanted a wife to read my books with enthusiasm, I would be looking for a woman called Paige, then she'd be Paige Turner. What do you call a man wearing a paper shirt? Russell. What do you call a man with a car on his head? Jack. What do you call a man with a seagull on his head? Cliff. What do you call a Spanish fireman? Jose. What do you call a Spanish man who can't find his automobile? Carlos. What do you call a woman standing between two goalposts? Annette. What do you call a woman who can step across a river? Bridgette. I invented that one when I met a woman called Bridgette in Bristol. Woman across the road laughed at this because this is her name. What do you call a woman with one leg shorter than the other? Eileen. What do you call a man with an insect climbing up his lower leg? Anthony. I got that one off a girl in school in Bristol. And what do you call a man who's dizzy? Gideon. What do you call a woman who prays a lot? Grace. What do you call a man who goes to church frequently? Christian. What do you call a man who doesn't believe in God? Godfrey. What do you call a woman athlete who's a champion? Winnie. And what do you call a sunburnt woman from Cornwall? Red Ruth. I made that one up. Here's another one I made up. What do you call a woman who searches people at airports? Pat down. And what do you call a man with a very short haircut? Sean. And what do you call a man standing between two high buildings? Ali. What do you call a person who sets fire to their bills? A woman who sets fire to her bills. That's the clue. Bernadette. What do you call a woman born on Christmas Day? Carol. What do you call a man carol singer? Noel. Noel. What do you call a woman who climb up walls? Ivy. What do you call a man with a spade? Doug. And what do you call a man who's just dropped the spade? Douglas. What do you call a woman optician? Iris. What do you call a man who's out fishing? Rod. And what do you call him when he's crouched down? Rodney, the fisherman. And of course, a man who's crouched down is obviously called Neil. And a man who's outspoken, he's called Frank. What do you call a woman with a turtle on her head? Shelley. What do you call a woman with a tortoise on her head? Michelle. What do you call a woman born early in the day? Dawn. What do you call a woman born on a windy day, very windy day? Gail. What do you call a man with lots of money? Rich. What do you call a man who steals money? Rob. What do you call a man who floats in the sea? Bob. What do you call a woman who floats on a lake? Lily. What do you call a man gardener? Pete. What do you call a woman a long way off in the distance? Dot. What do you call a man with lots of expenses? Bill. These are good for pub quizzes, aren't they? What do you call a woman with two toilets on her head? Clue, famous singer, Lulu. And what do you call a person with two cans on their head? Tintin. What do you call a person standing between two high hills in Scotland? Glen. And what do you call a woman hanging on a clothesline? Peggy. And what do you call a woman who always complains? Mona. What do you call a man bodybuilder? Yeah, you've got it. Jim. What do you call a vicar on a motorbike? I like this one. A vicar on a motorbike. Rev. And what do you call a man hitchhiking holding a car number plate? Reg. What do you call a man who tells lies? Doesn't tell the truth? Eli. What do you call a German hairdresser? A man. Haircuts. What do you call a student who receives money from the government? Grant. What do you call a person who's always reading instruction books? Emmanuel. What do you call a woman who works in a quarry? Roxanne. What do you call a male smoker? First name and second name would be Ashley Butt. And a man who works on a roof with his friend, two of them, Rufus Tyler and Tyler Rufus. What do you call a man who grows rice? Paddy Field. A famous music teacher, he's a man or a woman, Mr. or Mrs. C. Sharp. Woman on the checkout in the supermarket, Tilly or Matilda. A man from Libya, Benghazi. And the one I liked the best was, James Bond film, Live and Let Die. The name's Bond, James Bond. And the Mr. Big says, names is for tombstones. Ciao for now.